Before we dive into setting up the dining set, we would definitely need to put this into its own collection. So we would click on A to select everything, and we can right click and go to move to collection, or we can just click on M and click on new collection and type chair, and now we have this set in another fresh collection for the chair. Now we already have our table, so we can bring the table to our view so that we can see better. And I want to arrange the chair in such a way that we have 2 to 3 chairs facing the table. A set of 6 will be okay. So I can go ahead to select the chair, but what I need to make you know is that if you select the chair, like just clicking on one part of the chair, it's not going to select the cushion. So we do this thing where we parent an object to another object, so that if we move one object, the other objects will move as well. To do so, let me first toggle off this table. We would first select the cushion, and we will then click on Shift and select the chair. Now you need to take note of the order of selection, in the sense that we are selecting the cushion first before the chair, meaning that we want the cushion to be a child of the chair. You can also take note with how the object is highlighted. The brighter highlight signifies the object that will be the parent of the other object. Now to parent the cushion to the chair, we can just right click and you see parent, then you see object. Remember, you can also click on Ctrl P like we just saw in that quick shortcut note there. And right now, if I click on just the chair and I click G, it's going to move both the cushion and the chair, and that's good. So now I can toggle back on the table and select the chair and go to my top view, and now I can move the chair in a way that will be proper for the dining set by clicking G, clicking X to constrain it to the X-axis, then I can move it over here. So now I have the chair just by the table. I will need to make duplicates of the chair. I can go by that method of Alt D to create instances for the chair. However, we will be introducing another modifier called the array modifier. So remember, you can get to your modifier tab by going to your properties window, clicking on the spanner icon, go to the add modifier and click on array, and you can see that another instance of that chair is added to your scene. Now if you look at the array modifier, we can see how many chairs will be added, either 2 or 3 or as many as you like, and we can also dictate the distance between the new instances from the original object. Now in this case it's set to X-axis, so you can see that the new generated objects are aligned across the X-axis, but we do not want this. Instead, we want it to be arranged across the Y-axis just by the table, so we'll set this to 0. So it's looking good in the sense that we have the chairs arranged on the Y-axis. Now I can click on the parent object and move it properly in case I want it to be set just by the table. So let me go again, tilde key top, G, Y, and move it a bit. So I have this setting here, and we can see that the chairs look like they are glued together, so that's not realistic, or well, that might be your design, but we'll need to separate it a bit, so we'll just go over to add some more increments to that distance there. So I think it's looking good for the chair. So let's go again to top view, and we can G Y and shift to move it carefully. Good. So we have the chair arranged just by the table. Now again, you can see that the cushion did not get to be spun across the other two generated objects, so we need to also add the same array. So we can click on the cushion and do the same thing. I'll collapse this array, and just by the y-axis, so 0 for x-axis, 1.2 for y-axis, and increase the count so it looks exactly the same. Good. So we have this set up. Now that we're done with creating the chair and spacing it out the way we like, we would now want to create another set, by the left. So we would not just select by clicking on the chair in this area here, because we want to duplicate the cushion as well. So you can go down to the outliner, click on the chair, right click on it, and click select hierarchy. Now this is because if you click on this drop down, you will see that the cushion is now a child of this chair. So selecting hierarchy brings along with the chair its baggages. So we can now go ahead to duplicate this. Now for demonstration purposes, pay attention to this. I will duplicate this chair with two methods. The first one is by creating an instance of it with Alt D. So let's click on Alt D and constrain it to the x-axis, and we can move it here. Now what I want to do is I want to rotate it by the z-axis so that it can face the table. Now if I try to turn it in the z-axis by clicking R, Z, the entire object is going to turn, but that's not what I want. I would need to tab into edit mode, and in this case I have both the chair and the cushion selected. We need to click on A to ensure everything is selected, and if we click on R, Z, and we rotate it, you can see that the other objects that we derived this from is also rotating, and that's because this is an instance of an original object. So there are cases where we'll need to have the exact instances created, but in this case it's going to just give us headache. So what we want to do is create a new object from this original object. So I can just tab out of edit mode and click on X to delete everything, then select this hierarchy and click on Shift D to create a new object from this. Click on X to constrain it to the x-axis, and I can tab into edit mode, click on A to ensure everything is selected, click on R, Z, and you can now rotate it. You can actually take note of the angle of rotation, so you can look at this top corner here, and this is minus 180 thereabouts, so minus 180, and we're good to go. So now we have our dining set. So I can now tab back into object mode, and I have my dining set. So once I have this, I can just add some finishing touches over here. For the tabletop, I want to add some bevels to it to just give it some nice looking curves at the edge, and this is good.